Now we get to the male and female wrestlers of the year, not broken down only by gender, not by company. So who'd you vote for female wrestler of the year, Mr. Marceau, and who do you think won?
This was a tough one. I mean, for me, it was between Bianca and Becky. I sided with Bianca. I just thought she had the more complete year. I mean, like I said, Becky did have some good stuff at the beginning of the year. Once she lost the belt to Bianca, I mean, I'm pretty sure she was off TV for a while, and then she came back. But, I mean, Bianca's been champion pretty much since the whole year. I mean, WrestleMania is the beginning of the year. So, basically, the whole year, she was doing good stuff before she won the belt. I mean, I think this year was the year of the EST, so I went with Bianca here.
All right. So we get to last place first. 0% of the votes. Again, no votes for any of these three women. Thunder Rosa, very surprising because she won the belt back in March. Not a single vote for Rosa. She was champion for a good while before she got hurt in early September, late August. She was champion for like 5 months. That goes to show you how, not forgettable, but how unimpactful her reign is. Another very disappointing year for her because she started out the year really, really hot, and then she had a bunch of matches as champion and some really good matches too with Deeb and Storm. Had that Nyla Rose match, who gives a shit. But I felt like she was barely featured, so surprising she didn't get more votes. Liv Morgan had a great year, I thought. No votes. She won the briefcase, won the title soon after. She actually started the year over enough in that feud with Becky Lynch. She teamed with Rhea for a little while. She was consistently on the show. SmackDown Women's Champion for a good while this year, and she lost the belt and hasn't done a ton since, but no votes for her. Or Britt Baker. Britt Baker's done nothing this year. She was Women's Champion for the first 3 months. That's about it. She also won that Owen Hart Championship in May. Her second half of the year, she has lost a lot. No votes for her. I think she may have won last year, too, which is funny. So now we get into, fourth place, tied for fourth, Rhea Ripley, who had a great year as a character, didn't wrestle many matches, wasn't champion at all, but she really reinvented herself. Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch, 4.8% of the vote, tied for fourth. So you thought it was between Becky and Bianca. Becky's down a little bit. 9.5% of the vote, third place. Jamie Hayter, who had a great year, to me, the biggest breakout star in AEW this year. A lot of good matches. Finally champion, really over. All she has to do now is split away from Britt. Second in first place. So first place, 66.7% of the vote, Bianca Belair. In second place was Toni Storm with 14.3% of the vote. So the EST is indeed the EST, the best women's wrestler of 2022. And I don't even think it's a question, Mr. Marceau. You mentioned her character arc earlier, and she was in the Rumble for 45, 50 minutes. She won not the first ever Women's Elimination Chamber, but she won the Women's Elimination Chamber back in February. Won the belt from Becky at WrestleMania. She had matches on TV, successful title defenses against Carmella, Sonya Deville, Becky again at SummerSlam, Asuka, a couple good matches with her. Bayley beat her twice on pay-per-view in a ladder match, last woman standing match. Won the Women's War Games match at Survivor Series. Bianca's probably one of the most protected people in the entire company, male or female, and she's still really over. She's done great character work, cut good promos, and has been great in the ring as well. She has had an amazing year.
No, definitely. Like you said, especially with Jamie Hayter, I would say if the problem with her is that it's just such a last-minute thing. She just won the belt.
Yeah, I agree.
A little bit more time. She was definitely over, but she just wasn't doing anything. She was still, she was starting to get over the crowd, but she was still kind of Britt's side. I mean, she still is, but, I guess she's starting to become less of a sidekick, but she still was pretty much Britt's sidekick at that point. Yeah, she was over, but she wasn't really doing anything interesting until the last couple of months when we thought she was going to break up from Britt, but then she didn't because Saraya came in, but they finally pulled the trigger on her being champion over Tony. But, no, I think she would probably, if she had a couple more months, I think she could have probably got a little bit even more vote, but I don't think anyone was being Bianca. I'm honestly surprised Becky got as less as she did. Yeah,
no, I'm surprised she didn't do more. Maybe because she was gone for the summer, or the second half of the year after SummerSlam, she was gone through Survivor Series. Maybe that's why. But she had a great year, too. Like you said, she was champion for the first few months of the year, and even in Chase Mode, she was quite great as well. Had some great matches with Bianca and triple threats, multi-women, singles matches. She deserved more votes. Tony had a good year as well.
Like the Stockholm Syndrome of people forgetting about her in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. She really carried that division through Bianca beating her at Mania. So,
yeah, definitely.
And Bianca's been carrying that division ever since, and she might be champion through WrestleMania, so Bianca's reign of dominance is not over yet. We get to Male Wrestler of the Year. This one was a bit tougher, I think. I made the fucking categories, but we had a lot of great years for a lot of great people this year. Who'd you vote for, Mr. Marceau? This is our final finale, by the way, our final category. Who'd you vote for? Who do you think won?
This was the toughest one. Like you said, it's just always like you said, it comes down to like your interpretation. I mean, I would say the most over wrestler, it's hands down Roman Reigns. I mean, not even close. MJF, extremely popular.
Yep. But
he wrestled 7 matches this year.
Well, so did Roman.
So did Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
So then CM Punk had a great year, but he was also hurt a lot, got in trouble. We haven't seen him since September.
Yep.
For me, best is the best wrestler with the best matches, with the quality and the quantity. I went with Seth freaking Rollins.
A good answer.
I thought he had a complete full year. That's what kind of put me over him. I said Roman's the guy, but for me, Seth, he was the most complete guy all year. Put on great matches, carried Raw basically when they had no champion. Did some of the. I hate the laugh. I just can't stand the laugh. But he has great matches all the time. To me, it really came down to that, the quality. I think Moxley would be definitely up there as well. He wrestled a lot for AEW as well. I'd probably say they were pretty close 1A, 1B. But for me, Seth he just had a full, complete year.
He was WWE's MVP, had great matches, great storylines, great feuds. Even the Roman feud that lasted a couple weeks back in January. Great match with Roman of the Rumble. That was another match of the year candidate I did not include in the match of the year conversation. Then he goes on to the stuff. He was kind of biding his time going into WrestleMania. He didn't have a Mania match. Had matches on TV with AJ and Owens and other people. Didn't have a Mania match. Had the awesome series of matches with Rhodes. Put him over 3 times. Immediately transitioned into the Riddle feud, which was great. Great matches. Helped put him over in the fight pit and main event of Extreme Rules. And he was U.S. champion for a little while. Soon after that for quite a bit. He's over as a babyface right now, and now he's back to feuding with Austin Theory. So he has indeed had a great year. Everyone on this list had a really good year. Bobby Lashley had a great year. He was really over this year. He never technically was beaten for the WWE title. He's been protected a lot. He was U.S. champion for a number of months, had a lot of really good matches, defended it in the main event of Raw a bunch. He was WWE champion for a few weeks, came back. He wasn't out for very long. Had the feud with Brock Lesnar as well, so he's had a great year. Unfortunately, he had 0% of the votes. So Bobby Lashley, no votes, no dice. Another person who had no votes at all, this was definitely surprising. As we get into it here, Mr. Marceau, tied for last place, CM Punk. Not a single vote for CM Punk. Apparently my voters, the readers of WrestleRant.com, do not like CM Punk as much as I do. Not that I would have had him win here, but Punk had it. Come on, we have to be fair here. The guy had a good year, okay? He had the feud with MJF for the first 3 months. That was the best part of Dynamite for the first 3 months of the year. Phenomenal stuff. He won the title and a good match with Paige at Double or Nothing. Granted, he was champion for a day, but he did win the title in the main event of Double or Nothing. He was gone for a few months, came back, won the belt for a second time, got injured, and got suspended, and he's been gone ever since. But by in total, the first half of the year, he had a great first half of 2022. And the second half went to complete shit. But I guess that's what people remember. So he didn't get any votes. 5th place, 2.4% of the votes. Adam Page, who was champion for the first 5-6 months of the year. Another one of those people I forgot who we mentioned earlier, Becky Lynch, champion for a good portion of the year. No one cared. The reign wasn't great. You talked about it. What'd you say?
Nothing. I'm just laughing at you.
Yeah, no one gave a shit about the reign of Page, who had he had a couple of really good matches, but his booking was just not great. He didn't feel like the guy. Like I said, Punk and MJF dominated the year. Page, I don't want to say no dice because he did get some votes, but 2.4% of the votes for a guy that was champion for the first 6 months. This is a very surprising, interesting category, by the way, as we wind it down here. 4th place, all right, 4th place with 9.5% of the votes was Seth freaking Rollins. So he didn't even crack the top 3. I think that's more so due to the booking. I agree with you. From an in-ring standpoint, MVP would be Rollins. I think Alexis even told me she voted for Rollins too, but Yeah, he couldn't really win whenever it mattered most. I don't think he won a pay-per-view match until he beat Riddle at Clash of the Castle. I don't know if he's won a that might be the only pay-per-view match he won this year, which is not good. But, he's Rollins. He's bulletproof, whatever. But, yeah, 4th place, 9.5% of the vote.
Oh, did he win at Clash?
Yeah, that's what I said. That was the only pay-per-view match that he won this year. Yeah. Clash. Yep, he beat Riddle. 3rd place, 11.9% of the vote. MJF, who had a great year. He was gone for a decent part of it during the summer, about 3 months. But still, he was great in the first half. Didn't win a lot in the first half. Didn't have a lot of matches. But the promos were great. The match with Punk was great. The Wardlow stuff, the feud was great. The payoff was lame, but whatever. Then he came back, was the best part of Dynamite for the last couple months of the year. Had a great match with Moxley, beat him for the belt in November. Surprised that he's not top 3, but he was, he was top 3, but he was 3rd place. 2nd place, well, let's get into it. Here we go. For the first time ever, Mr. Marceau, first time ever, we got a 2-way tie for first place. We got 2 male wrestlers of the year for 2022 with 26.2% of the vote for both. This is why I leave the polls up for as long as possible, because if we got a couple more votes, it probably wouldn't have been tied. It obviously wouldn't have been tied if we got votes for one of these people. 26.2% of the votes for the top spot, and 2nd place got 23.8% of the votes. Your male wrestler of the year for 2022, or male wrestlers of the year, were Roman Reigns, of course, and Sami Zayn. And Jon Moxley was 2nd place with 23.8% of the vote. That is very surprising. Listen, it's all about your interpretation. Sami Zayn didn't win anything this year, really. But he was also one of the most entertaining parts of the year with Knoxville stuff. I know you disagree, but the Bloodline stuff. The Bloodline are the male wrestlers of the year, Mr. Marceau. Your thoughts, your reaction.
No, I mean, so this is the thing, though. It's like, I feel like he benefited from not doing anything at the beginning of the year because he really didn't do anything. Like, the whole Bloodline stuff was mostly, like, middle of the year into basically the summer. I mean,
yeah.
He didn't become an honorary Uso until... I don't think it was until after Clash, if my memory serves me right.
He was doing stuff with the Bloodline up until, like, April, but they didn't really rev it up until, like, September, yes.
Yeah, so, like, I mean, like you said, as a character, yeah, I mean, he had a great year. He's with the Bloodline and stuff like that, but, I mean, like you said, rest of the year, I mean, they probably had good matches, but nothing really stuck out to me. And I was like, that was an amazing match. I mean, he has good matches, but, yeah, I mean... It's a little surprising. I mean, I think he had a good year, but like I feel like he's one of those people, like you said, like had a good year, but probably get 0% of the vote because other people had better. I don't even have words to describe. I mean, like I said, oh my goodness, I'm surprised. I mean, I think he had a good year, but I just feel like Rollins just had a way better year. But I mean, like you said, Roman Reigns had a great year, but to me, he was kind of disqualified because he didn't really do too much.
I guess this means that people just pay more attention to the segments and promos than they do the matches, because Zayn didn't really have any standout matches this year for the most part. Rollins had like 10 at least. He's in a lot of the top matches of the year, but I mean, he also had great promos and feuds, but I don't know. I think people remember the Zayn stuff because that was the central focus of the company for the last 5-6 months.
True.
Listen, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not upset Sammy's one of the top spots. The Bloodline are, the honorary Uso and the Tribal Chief himself are the male wrestlers of the year. We got 2 male wrestlers of the year for the first time ever. We're 10 years in. We're still making history here. Moxley being in 2nd place doesn't overly surprise me. He had a very good year, too. He really carried AEW through the dark times, so to speak, the dark days. Rollins being as low as he was is surprising, but I guess when you don't win a lot of matches, maybe that's what people go off of. Maybe the people that make the PWI rankings were voting on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought he had a great year. I guess, like you said, I mean, if you're counting my promos, I mean, like I said, I hate his fucking laugh and shit.
I know you do.
Maybe the laugh really just, I mean, maybe other people hate it too and just didn't give him. But, no, I think Roman, I mean, like I said, he is the most over guy in the business, so I guess that does count for something. But, like I said, best wrestler of the year, I guess it kind of goes both hand in hand, but I mean, like I said, I thought Rollins had a complete year. I would say Moxley as well, so.
Yeah, he had a very good year. They all had great years. All of them, for different reasons, had great years, and we'll see what 2023 will bring.